Welcome to Eggs and Issues, a monthly business forum bringing timely economic discussion to the region for 35 years. Presented by the Portland Community Chamber of Commerce. Thank you to our 2019-2020 sponsors and partners. Presenting sponsors, Bank of America and Martins Point Healthcare. Cooperating sponsors, First Light, WEX, and Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare. Community Corner sponsor, Goral Palmer. Parking sponsor, CV and Mahar Engineers. Reception sponsors, Clark Insurance, KeyBank, and Veril. Tomorrow's Leaders and Entrepreneurs sponsors, Springborn Staffing Center and AAA Northern New England. Media partners, News Radio WGAN, The Forecaster, WMTW News 8, Maine Biz, with production support provided by Headlight. And thank you to our 2019-20 special community partners. Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield, Spectrum Healthcare Partners, the University of Southern Maine, and Southern Maine Community College. And now, please welcome Portland Community Chamber President, Jim Cohen.
Good morning, and once again, welcome to Eggs and Issues, the monthly virtual business breakfast of the Portland Community Chamber of Commerce. My name is Jim Cohen, coming to you live from my living room studios here in the North Deering neighborhood of Portland, Maine. I'm a partner with the Veril Law Firm, and I'm honored to serve as the volunteer president of the Portland Community Chamber of Commerce. I want to thank all of you once again for joining us safely this morning for Eggs and Issues. It's hard to imagine that it was just over a year ago that we started these annual events, these monthly events, coming to you from my living room studios. I think we'll be continuing this through the rest of this season, but my hope is we'll be back again live, at least in some form, as we move into the next year. Our fingers are certainly crossed, and we're hoping folks get out and get vaccinated so that our society and our community can return to some form of normalcy. Now, today's program features Rich Cantz of Goodwill Northern New England. But before we get into that program, I just wanted to talk for a few moments about something that I've talked about each month over the last few months, which is that Portland is having a charter commission process starting this summer and probably continuing for the next year. And elections for the membership in the Charter Commission will be occurring on Tuesday, June 8th. So that's coming right up. Absentee voting for members of the Charter Commission actually started yesterday. So you can either log in online or you could go to City Hall to make sure that your vote is counted. And obviously we strongly encourage you to get out there and cast your vote. Once the 12 members of the Charter Commission are selected in June, the Commission will in turn spend much of the next year evaluating all aspects of Portland's city government. And at the conclusion of that process, any changes that the Commission recommends will in turn go back out to the voters in the form of an initiative for voters to decide whether or not they agree to any changes that are recommended. Now, recently, the Chamber surveyed its members to learn what they wanted to see in city government. And what we learned is that our members do want greater resources to help make sure that our Portland Council and Mayor are able to have the resources they need to formulate good policy to ensure that our city government is effective in meeting the needs of our residents and our businesses and our visitors. However, our members were not supportive of having Portland's mayor exercise powers like hiring and firing department heads and city staff, awarding contracts, or engaging in the day-to-day operations and running of the city. The Chamber also had an opportunity to survey the candidates running for the Charter Commission and assess the degree to which the candidates' views aligned with the views of our Chamber members. If you want to learn more about where the candidates stand, that information is now available on the Chamber's website on our City Hall page. So please take a moment to visit our website and inform yourself about the candidates And please also, again, take the time to get out there and vote. Now, I would like to take a moment to thank all of our sponsors of Eggs and Issues who make this event possible, whether in person or virtual. First and foremost, our presenting sponsors, Bank of America and Martins Point Healthcare. I also want to thank our other generous sponsors, cooperating sponsor, Harvard Pilgrim, reception sponsors, Clark Insurance, KeyBank, and Vero. Community Corner sponsor, Goral Palmer. Tomorrow's Leaders and Entrepreneurs sponsor, AAA Northern New England. Coffee sponsor, Skowhegan Savings. And our remote parking sponsor, Vitalius Real Estate Group. A special thank you to our media partners, The Forecaster, WGAN, WMTW Maine CW, and MaineBiz. Our FMI, or For More Information sponsor, is the Portland Public Library. And of course, we continue to miss our friends at Headlight Audiovisual and the Holiday Inn by the Bay. And we hope once again to be back in person soon and seeing you and working with them once again. And of course, a very special thank you to our special community partners who support all of our chamber initiatives. Anthem, Spectrum Healthcare Partners, University of Southern Maine, Southern Maine Community College, and MEMIC. Let's have a virtual round of applause for all of our generous sponsors. Now on to today's program. Goodwill Northern New England, more than a store. In today's presentation, you will hear about the wide array of services that Goodwill Northern New England offers, ranging from workforce programs to healthcare initiatives to retail stores across Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont. Here today to talk about Goodwill Northern New England is its president and CEO, Rich Cantz. Rich received his bachelor's degree in psychology from Springfield College, graduating magna cum laude in 1993, and he is also a graduate of the Leadership Maine Upsilon class. He became CEO of Goodwill Northern New England in July of 2018, a nonprofit social enterprise for over 100 years. Goodwill at its core reflects social, economic, and environmental sustainability with the goal of moving 10,000 households into the region for more stability. Rich joined Goodwill in 2003 as the director of the Goodwill Fund. Over the years, he has held various positions of increasing scope in the areas of advancement, program development, and public policy, including Senior Vice President, Strategic Development, and Public Policy. Before joining Goodwill, Rich served as Vice President, Resource Development at the United Way of Greater Portland. And prior to that, he spent 5 years at the Opportunity Alliance, formerly Youth Alternatives, providing case management services for youth in the Maine foster care system, as well as homeless youth. Through the years, Rich has served as a board member of multiple organizations, including Woodford's Family Services, Mission Possible Teen Center, Guitar Doors, and the McAuliffe Shepherd Discovery Center. In a moment, I will turn the program over to Rich, after which we will be taking questions from the audience today. If you would like to ask a question, please use the chat function in YouTube, and your question will be conveyed to our presenters if time is available. If you have any additional questions following today's program, you are welcome to send them to the chamber at chamber@portlandregion.com. Now, let me welcome Rich Cantz to the program. Rich, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We very much look forward to hearing more about Goodwill Northern New England and the great work that you and your colleagues are doing for our community. So Rich, the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Jim. It's great to be with you, and good morning, everybody. Really appreciate coming out and attending today. It's great to have the time together with all of you, even virtually. And so many thanks to the Portland Chamber for the kind invitation to speak with you today to talk about our work here at Goodwill Northern New England. Our Goodwill brand is often well recognized, but frequently misunderstood. As you all know, Goodwill is often known for its stores. They are a very visible part of our brand. In fact, perhaps the most visible. I know many of you may donate to our stores and perhaps even shop in our stores. I hope you do, and thank you so much for that. But some of you may know us in other ways, perhaps through special events, or maybe even as a client. Or maybe we placed an employee at your business through our workforce programs or other various ways. Whatever the reason, you're taking the time, your time this morning to learn more about us. So again, thank you. So along your travels, you've probably seen Goodwill stores when you've driven around to various places, if you remember back in the days when travel was a little easier. And along the way, you likely saw the well-known Smiling G logo on our store or program location. There are approximately 150 independent, not-for-profit Goodwills around the world, including Canada, South America, and now even in South Korea. Every Goodwill tailors their programs to meet the needs of their local communities. Our Goodwill, Goodwill Northern New England, is responsible for supporting Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont. And I'd love to tell you about our work in that region, our programs, and the many things that are accomplished every day by our 1,800 employees. But before I get to that, I want to tell you a bit about where we've come from, really why there are Goodwills at all. It all started with Goodwill's founder, Edgar Helms, who was a minister in Boston in the early 1900s. Edgar saw the unfavorable conditions that many new Americans were facing. People were without jobs and sometimes desperate for food, clothing, and shelter. Seeing this, Edgar had an idea. So using burlap bags, Edgar went door to door, knocking on doors in Boston's wealthiest areas, asking for donations of clothing and household goods. The intention was to receive these donated goods and in turn, give these donated goods away to those in need. And it certainly makes sense, right? But he quickly realized that he needed to do something different. In fact, many of the people he was trying to support told him, we don't need stuff, we need good jobs. So the model shifted and Goodwill was born. Edgar hired people in need, many who were considered unemployable, to repair and sell donated goods. Through the sale of those goods, money was reinvested into the Goodwill model and therefore allowing more employees to be hired, and the business began to scale, all with the goal to achieve and maintain individual personal stability. And certainly while the world has changed a lot in the last 119 years, Goodwill's work has stayed the course in many ways. And we have also changed in many ways. We are a social enterprise, creating opportunities to serve those who come to us for help. That's the social part. Through business, and that's the enterprise part. We have some big goals here at Goodwill Northern New England. Specifically, as Jim mentioned, our overarching goal is to move 10,000 of our neighbors in our region into personal stability in the next 6 years. Stability looks different for every person served, and we measure stability for each person on 14 fronts, 14 areas of a person's life: food security, access to safe housing, financial wellness, and many more. Our programs are a key component to that work. Our Goodwill has programs in workforce development, healthcare, cleaning services, and more. We are more than a store, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. So let's start off with our workforce development services. Last year, Goodwill Northern New England served 28,000 people through our workforce programs. Our programs help people get the training and careers they need to support themselves and their families. Much of our work is possible through partnerships and specific on-the-ground programs like AmeriCorps, Youth Build, our employment services, and workforce solutions, just to name a few. When people need help finding great jobs and businesses need reliable employees, we try to be the matchmaker. We want people to think of us in that way. We've been helping people get jobs for almost a century. And in that time, we've certainly learned a lot. So about 6 years ago, we started noticing that for many people we serve, a job wasn't enough. We could get a person employment, but sometimes within weeks, maybe months, the person was back to where they started. They weren't looking when we weren't looking at the whole picture. So that's when we started talking about what we now call the job connection model. So in collaboration with our research partners at the University of Vermont, we designed and developed a whole person approach, launching that in Maine in 2015. Again, with the idea that it takes more than just job placement to achieve personal stability. It's about the whole life. Job connection is a holistic approach, and it takes the whole person's life into consideration. for each person served, and that's important. Now, most people who come to us certainly leave with employment. In that way, I'd like to give you a quick story about Ben. As I mentioned, we're really fortunate to have so many partnerships. One specific partnership, for example, includes Coastal Counties Workforce, Inc., our local workforce board, and the U.S. Department of Labor. Together, funding was secured specifically to serve people affected by Maine's opioid pandemic. You all know how devastating that's been to our state and certainly well beyond. That's how Ben heard about us. Ben served as a U.S. Marine and then became an ER nurse, a job he really loved. And after getting root canal surgery, his doctor prescribed him a narcotic that swiftly became an addiction. He lost his job as a nurse. And when that happened, the state of Maine put him on a list that prevented him from working in healthcare. So he got a job in insurance and stayed there for years, which offered stability. But ultimately, it wasn't a great fit. So he left. When he came to Goodwill, our workforce staff offered to help. He'd been unemployed for 8 months, all during this global pandemic. Not easy. But he'd also been sober for 8 years. Also not easy. In his spare time, Ben had helped others in recovery by leading 12-step programs, sponsoring others, and staying healthy. And he knew he was making a difference. When he came into Goodwill's doors, Ben was ready for something different. So at Ben's direction, our staff helped him identify a way to connect employment to his life's passion, helping people affected by addiction. But there was a complication. He needed to get off the state's main care exclusion list. So he worked with his Goodwill Life Navigator, his Goodwill Career Advisor, and they helped him and applied to get that restriction removed. And they did it. Within weeks, he was hired in his dream job as a certified recovery advisor. Ben did the hard work, and we were simply there to support him. We've seen amazing success with this new approach. In fact, we brought it into Goodwill itself, right within our own walls. Our employees need support too, so we hired Life Navigator to support our own Goodwill staff. They've helped our employees with counseling. They've helped people avoid homelessness and move people out of homelessness. And like Ben, employees who needed support in their recovery journey. As you can imagine, they have been especially helpful through this pandemic. So now we're expanding this model to support other employers in the area. Casella Waste Systems, Vermont Country Store, Rutland Regional Hospital, and others have partnered with us to bring our Goodwill Life Navigators to serve their employees. This approach helps those businesses retain good employees who may have some complicated life issues that sometimes get in the way of employment. So honestly, who here doesn't have something in their life that impacts their work? Who couldn't use some support along their life in some way? We're hoping to expand that model to other employees in the area, employers in this area. So I want to talk a little bit about our healthcare programs as well. It's another set of programs that serve our shared communities in this region. In this area, we primarily serve people with disabilities, individuals with acquired brain injuries, and more. And we do this in 3 major ways. First, we operate 2 neuro rehab outpatient clinics, places where people come to us for treatment after a brain injury. One in Lewiston, one in Scarborough. Second, we offer community day supports and care coordination for adults with disabilities, a visible and supportive platform for success in the community. And third, we operate 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week staffed residential homes. We opened our first brain injury clinic in 1991 to help people get back to life after a brain injury. Since then, we've supported over 9,000 of our neighbors in need of treatment. Most often, people come to us after a stroke or a car accident or a slip or fall. Our specialized staff help evaluate exactly what's happening and get a greater understanding of a person's life, and then help people relearn such things as walking, talking, complicated daily tasks like cooking, grocery shopping in our community, and more, all with support. We have an on-staff neuropsychologist, occupational therapists, physical therapists, case managers, and more. Our 23 staffed residential homes in Maine are a safe and active place for adults with disabilities. They're embedded in neighborhoods throughout Southern and Central Maine. The people who live in Goodwill homes have jobs, pursue hobbies, volunteer, and are very independent, ensuring that they are reaching their goals and stability. Our homes evolved out of the closing of Pineland's Maine's Institution and Training School. Many of you may remember Pineland before it was a beautiful farm and well-designed business hub. Many of the people who were leaving Pineland at the time came to Goodwill and live in the community of their choice. And many folks still live with us today. Lastly, in the areas such as in our main areas of Augusta, Waterville, Scarborough, and Portland, Goodwill offers LifeWorks, which is an active community integration program for adults with disabilities. Our participants volunteer, play disc golf, great thing to do, ride horses, learn job skills, paint, and focus on becoming independent while also being active community members. It's a great place to spend your days with friends. At a high level, that's our healthcare business unit. I love talking about this next area of Goodwill. You may not know, but we have a cleaning business. We have a cleaning business here at Goodwill, and it's called Good Clean Property Services. We provide cleaning and grounds maintenance to businesses all over our territory, Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont, while employing about 100 individuals and supporting their journey to stability. We clean retail locations, office buildings, medical offices. We even clean government locations like the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard. And of course, many Goodwill buildings ourselves. So you may be wondering, why a cleaning business? Well, we started Good Clean Property Services to offer people job training and experience in a field that's flexible, customizable, and in varied environments throughout our territory, while offering opportunities for upward mobility. Our Good Clean staff offer quality, customized, earth-friendly cleaning services to businesses in our communities while offering a high wage, all part of our social enterprise. Please look us up if you have any property cleaning, property maintenance, or cleaning needs. And now a bit about our stores. Last year, Goodwill diverted more than 50 million pounds of stuff from our local landfills by offering people a reuse option. That's a lot of stuff. In turn, this gave people an affordable place to shop while offering work to more than 850 Goodwill Northern New England retail employees, many of whom have barriers to employment. In fact, some have come to us through the very programs I talked to you about this morning. And that's the idea. And that makes for a really special approach to business. Our Goodwill operates 30 stores in Maine, New Hampshire, and Northern Vermont. We also have 4 online marketplaces. We have 3 outlet stores, and we brand them as Goodwill by the Pound stores, which is a part of our bigger sustainability work. You may have seen in the news recently that sometimes we have to throw away things. Someone donates an old car battery to us. There aren't many options for that. But for the most part, if you donate an item to us, we want to keep it, and we want to use it in the best possible way. Ideally, that would mean we would sell each donated item in one of our stores. Now, with 10,000 items in each store, sometimes that could be a little tricky to do. Not everyone wants that Lover Boy or a Night Ranger baseball sleeve t-shirts from the 80s. You know what I'm talking about. Maybe you even have one. If not, we can help you with that. Or a horse-themed Monopoly game. I mean, you know, I want one, but it's hard to say if everybody does. Anyhow, if an item does not sell in a store or through one of our online platforms, then we bring it to a local by the pound store. We will sell it for pennies. In the case of the shirt, if we can't sell it in the by the pound store, we have employees who cut up that material into Goodwill wiping cloths, and we sell them in our stores and directly to businesses in our territory. Sometimes it's flannel, sometimes it's terry cloth, or it's cotton, direct cotton. Again, creating jobs all along the way while diverting material from our landfill. A newer trend we're seeing is a rise in secondhand online marketplaces. You may have seen this as well. Websites like Poshmark, The RealReal, certainly Facebook Marketplace. We've always seen local thrift shop owners and their suppliers in our Goodwill outlet stores. And now we're seeing many people who leverage our business to build their own business. They shop for shoes, clothes, luggage. They clean it up and offer it online for more money than they paid for it at Goodwill. And at times, people have come up to me and whispered, "Hey, Rich, do you know that people are buying things in your store and selling it for more money than you sold it for? You know, like somehow we're missing an opportunity." And I quickly respond and say, I do, and I support this entirely. If someone else wants to keep these items out of the landfill while supporting their family and achieving stability in that way, good for them. It supports Goodwill programs, the earth, and their family. It's hard to measure, but anecdotally, we know that our Goodwill alone supports more than 100 resellers' businesses, and I love that. Of course, Goodwill stores themselves are job creators. We work hard to be more than just a paycheck. When someone has been through a long period of instability, gaining stability takes practice, bravery, and perseverance. We strive to be an employer who goes the extra mile to keep our employees healthy and happy and have the resources they need to have a good life. And our stores are just one way that we can serve the community for sustainability, for business generation, and certainly as a large employer. Now, some people have the assumption that Goodwill exists to clothe people in need. That's kind of true, but it's not exactly true, as our founder, Edgar, figured out, as I talked about earlier in the speech. Again, people need real holistic help to achieve personal stability, not just clothes. That's a part of the puzzle. When people come to us in need of clothing, we know there may be more to their story, and we'd love to get to know them a bit and to explore a sustainable and systemic way to help. That said, some people really do need just the items in our store. So that's why we give vouchers to participants in our workforce programs, but also to other nonprofits in our area who are our partners in stability and helping their clients achieve their goals. Speaking of donations, as some of you know, anyone who's tried to safely dispose of an old phone or a laptop knows how difficult it can be, or how long you need to wait at times for your town to offer a technology drive. Well, if you didn't know, we have good news. Goodwill stores take donations of computers, phones, gaming consoles, and other technology every day at every store. Those items get separated out and sent to our Good Tech team. We hired and trained about a dozen people to refurbish old computers. All computers, even the ones that have those monitors that are about the size of a Honda Civic. You know, I used to have one. It was green in the front, kind of tan on the side, weighed about 100 pounds. Customer data on those computers are wiped clean of information to the US Department of Defense standards. And we take that very, very seriously. Our staff then repair the computers either for sale or you can gift them to participants in our workforce programs or other low-income individuals. Can you imagine trying to apply for a job these days without a computer? And the really cool thing is that any computer that's donated to us that can't be refurbished, the really, really old ones, are responsibly recycled within the United States, thanks to our partnership with Dell. Again, a focus on sustainability, training, and job creation. That's a social enterprise, and that's our social enterprise. So where are we going? With support and leadership from our board of directors, hundreds of employees, Goodwill employees, and other stakeholders, we've completed our latest strategic framework. It's hot off the press, which will guide our work for the upcoming 2 fiscal years. The considerations needed to create this plan were a bit more complex than past planning processes, primarily due to the pandemic, and all of the Goodwill has experienced, much like your organizations. Although we would never wish to relive 2020, we are really grateful for what we've learned. Today, we are more nimble, innovative in our decision-making, and have a clear focus on the areas of our organization that need attention, and we are now stronger and more united. Our framework clearly lays out the areas of focus that we are committed to, helping us to rebound in a sustainable manner while strengthening many parts of our agency, and therefore those we serve. We will be strengthening the basics of a healthy organization by building an employee-first workplace, strengthening our culture, addressing immediate systems needs, and building on partnerships. And I want to punctuate the building on partnerships this morning. It's in some ways a back to basics plan and set of priorities that are intentionally preparing us for future opportunities for our work to have greater impact in the communities we serve in Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont. Our goals are clearly intertwined to ensure that we create a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive workplace, and provide excellent client services and programs, all while building a sustainable and healthy financial framework for our future. We have a lot of work to do over the next 2 years, and we're excited about it, but a lot of it's already underway. It's all with the goal of being able to serve our community, to serve each of you. Businesses in Maine and beyond need help, especially hiring and retaining employees. You all know that. We also know that the dignity, fulfillment, and stability that a job brings to a person's life is so important. As Maine businesses, we all want to do our best to support employees. And we know employees are the backbone for each of our businesses, small or large. As we continue to innovate and develop better systems to support employees in our communities, we want to encourage you to look at your employees differently. Many of us are looking at our own inclusion policies, and I want to offer Goodwill as a resource. For instance, if you would like to employ adults with disabilities but aren't sure where to start, give us a call. If your business needs help and wants to think creatively about hiring and retention, we're here and we're ready to talk. We have ideas and we want to hear yours too. Thank you for your time this morning. It's of course very terrific to be with all of you. But before we shift to questions and answers in that portion of the meeting, I'd like to close my presentation with a video that highlights our neurorehabilitation program and the many resilient people we are so fortunate to work with each day. We'll see you in a minute.
My name is Callista Hansen. I had a stroke back in January 13th, 2018 that took the entire left half of my body, including my dominant hand, and I had to start all over again from the very beginning. I had to learn how to walk, how to feed myself, how to write. When I first arrived to Goodwill, I was barely walking. I had a forearm crutch that got me through the day. And thanks to all the helpful people at Goodwill, I've been able to regain my leg and my arm and my hand back. And I think that in time, I'll be able to fully recover my body. Oh my God, it makes me feel so relieved. So relieved. That's really the biggest thing. There's so many times where I just want to thank the people that work with me for all their help and all their encouragement, because I've gone so far, like farther than I ever thought possible. The whole time, my boyfriend of 6 months was with me and stayed by my side, and he moved in with me. We got an apartment together. He proposed to me on my birthday on June 1st, and thanks to Goodwill, I'll be able to dance at my wedding. My main thing that I want to focus on, and I want to teach people and show people that no matter how bad the situation is, there's always a way to motivate yourself through it. There's always a way to take the negative emotions that you're feeling and to use them to do something positive. That is so important to me. Like, that was the biggest life lesson I ever learned. And I want to inspire people and show them what people can be capable of. Because I've had so many people tell me that they don't understand how I'm getting through what I'm going through. I was like, well, I don't really have the option to give up, because that's living the rest of my life with half my body missing. And I feel like positive energy and positive thinking is vital to my life in general and how I'm going to live it and how much of my body I'm going to live without. So I feel like my life depends on being positive and taking my negative emotions and doing something with them. And honestly, Goodwill has been the best place for me, because like all the people here are so positive and they're so encouraging, and like whenever I have a hard day or have a tough time with something, they're always there to comfort and help and guide me in the next direction.
Great, Rich. Thank you so much. An inspiring video, a wonderful presentation of the really important work that Goodwill of Northern New England is doing. So thank you. Please thank all of your team for that good work. We do have a number of questions that have come in, and I guess let me start. I learned a lot about some of the services that Goodwill provides here today. So thank you for that. But business partnerships are certainly one of the key areas that you mentioned and talked about. Can you tell us, what does a business partnership with Goodwill look like?
Absolutely. Thanks for asking. And it's really not only core to our current work, but it's really part of our DNA as an organization in terms of ensuring people have access to employment that is meaningful and able to support their own lives as well as their families' lives. The business partnerships really take two key forms. The first is understanding the business needs of one of our partners. So we partner with businesses as small as an organic mushroom farm in Springvale to Bath Iron Works. And what that looks like is as people come to us for help on their employment journey, they may be new to the workforce, they may be a very seasoned employee. We assess and understand what their goals are and what their skills are, what training gaps may exist in their lives, and match them through our business partners throughout our territory to not only meet this individual's needs, but also equally important, meet the needs of a business. We all know certainly today, there's some challenges recruiting employees, and we need to work together to ensure that we are able to employ individuals while meeting the business needs in our region. And we want businesses to have their needs met. But we also know that some of the individuals we bring add an extra dimension to their workforce. They help diversify their workforce. They bring a perspective at times that may be new to a particular employer, and that strengthens their culture. It strengthens their work and their ability to deliver on to their customers everything they need to do. So it's a really important part of our work.
And how does a business know that they can reach out to you, and how would they go about doing that? Absolutely.
Great question. There are a few ways that can happen. The first and most simple way is, particularly if you're on this call with us today and you'd like to know more, just give us a call, 207-774-6323, and ask for anybody in our Workforce Services Department. We'd be happy to direct you. You can also do that online. If you go to our website, there's a way to reach out to one of our employees and ask some questions and begin a conversation. But we also have individuals on staff who actually do outreach to businesses. So they target certain businesses based on certainly their sector, but also their current needs of the folks we're supporting. So if someone has a dream to work in a particular environment, we'll do some research and outreach to those business types that will not only meet their individual needs, but also are in the geographic area where that person ideally lives, knowing that some of the barriers that transportation can bring, particularly in a rural state. So we'd be happy to hear from you and have lots of good folks who are ready to work and would bring incredible value to every business.
Well, this is more of a comment than a question, but the Portland Community Chamber of Commerce is part of the broader Portland Regional Chamber of Commerce family. And as an organization, as a group of member businesses, between 12 and 1,300, one of our top missions is, in fact, workforce development. And pre-pandemic, we were experiencing tremendous workforce shortages. For the last number of months, that hasn't been the case, but I think we're quickly moving back into an environment where businesses need workers. So I just want to thank you and Goodwill for really making important strides to help our community, help our communities, give people second chances, give people opportunities, because throughout the entire system, these are positive developments. As somebody who's spent years working with opiate treatment providers, having people have opportunities for second chances really resonates with me and the organization. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Jim. Appreciate that very much.
One other area that I wasn't as familiar with, and that is your residential communities. I hadn't appreciated that the effort had stemmed from the closure of Pineland. I'm the son of a psychologist who actually worked at Pineland many years ago, so I'm familiar with Pineland. But could you tell us more about how people would access those services? Are there openings? Are there waiting lists? What does that look like?
Yeah, it's a great question. Thank you. And thanks for the backstory with your family connection there. Really an important part of our history here in Maine and the development of how we support individuals with disabilities. Our homes are spread out throughout the state. And as I mentioned in my talk, they're often in neighborhoods, and we're neighbors and good neighbors to our community. The history there is important. If you remember back, or if you knew history too, or new information, there was a period in time when a shift in understanding how to support and provide a safe environment for individuals with disabilities changed. It changed throughout our country. In fact, it's still evolving, thankfully. But it really went from separating individuals and putting them in a particular part of a society together to saying, we need to live together. We need to be together. And the way to support our community members and those around us is really best provided in a very, very natural way. So as that shift from a policy standpoint changed here in Maine, and again, certainly well beyond, Goodwill responded to the state's request and really just from a societal need to provide good quality, safe places for people to live as they transitioned out of an institution. And so that evolution happened a number of years ago, decades ago, with our first residential program was on a street called Carlton Street in Portland, Maine. We're no longer there. We've changed and gone to a bit of more of a rural setting for some of those individuals, but it was really an experiment, but it was an opportunity for us to better understand how we can serve people residentially who need a safe and community integrated place to live. And since then, again, we've grown to 23 homes. Some are very small. We have a home where a married couple lives. We have homes that are individual apartments that share a common area. Everybody has a screened-in porch and a gazebo and a shared green space to be. And folks work and folks volunteer and they eat together and they cook together and they have their own lives and ideally they have family support around them. Not always the case, but it's certainly ideal when individuals have access to their families close by so that their life can be whole. So that's really in a nutshell the history. It's evolving. If people want to learn more or they have a loved one who is in need, again, that number 207-774-6323, ask for anybody in our residential services and we'll be happy to direct you. In some areas, there are wait lists. In some areas, we have openings. It kind of ebbs and flows depending on the day, but happy to talk to anybody in need and talk about how we interface with the larger system and how we understand how we can meet both individuals and families' need. We're an aging state, Jim, as we all know, and as parents care for their kids, and as we all get older, and we're caring for kids perhaps that need us as well, this is a really challenging issue. And it's something we all need to be talking about because at some point, their loved ones aren't going to be able to care for each other. That family unit is going to need some extra support, and we want to be there to help.
That's great. Thank you for explaining that a little bit more.
Of course.
I think probably an area where people are most familiar with Goodwill, and you talked about it a little bit, relates to the stores that you operate and the returns. And I just want you to know I will never be returning my Loverboy t-shirt. That's mine.
Oh, I was afraid you'd find it. I was looking for it myself, but I'm glad you got it. Enjoy it.
But talk a little bit about, so the computer refurbishing piece was something that was new to me and intriguing. And so if a company or business is changing over its computers, do they just reach out to you, and how does that work?
They do, yeah, and we're really thankful for certainly individual donations. As folks upgrade their computer, they bring it over. But when companies choose us as a place to share their kind of rotating or outdated computers, absolutely, any store, they certainly could call us again, and we can arrange a pickup if there's a large amount. But the whole idea was, as we were accepting computers a number of years ago, a couple things were happening. One, I mentioned our partnership with Dell, really important. It's called the Dell Reconnect program. And basically we were taking computers, we were sending them to Dell, and Dell was recycling them responsibly. I'm so thankful for that. But at the same time, there was sort of a parallel movement. We understood that there was a high demand for technology, well-trained technology jobs here in Maine. And the community college systems and others are working so hard to train folks to prepare for those jobs. So we kind of said, gee, do we have something we are here? We have donated computers. They may be a little outdated, but is there something we can do to dismantle, reassemble, sell, reinvest back into the business, hire people, all with the goal of training individuals as they're working on these computers. So we visited a few other locations around the country that were doing some similar stuff, and actually went to Austin to see another partnership with Dell, and came back with an idea called Good Tech. And as I mentioned, it's the whole purpose is to create new jobs and create training opportunities for folks during their journey as they lattice their career together in the field of technology, while diverting these materials from the landfill. The technology, computers, monitors can be very, very harmful to the environment. So this was just one solution to divert it from ultimately a landfill or a safe end recycling place. So we've created this. It's been really fun. Some of the folks who work in this area, if you remember back, if you know what I was talking about with the Loverboy T-shirt, you probably remember the Atari 2600. Space Invaders, Defender, that kind of stuff. We have staff. We get those donations. They're beautiful and incredible. So we have staff who test them, clean them up, and then sell them, break them down. We have, laptops and desktops. And again, as I kind of joked about during my talk, we get those monitors that, could also work as a weight in the back of a car. If we can't repurpose those, we recycle those through our Dell partnership. So again, I can't punctuate enough. That's a social enterprise. We're creating jobs through business while benefiting the environment, and that's really part of our DNA and core to all of our work.
Well, I'm impressed with the creativity and the way that you go about integrating what you do and find new ways in which to capitalize on opportunities. So impressive. And I do remember Atari and Space Invaders. I remember when Pong was an exciting game. So maybe you get some of those back as well.
I guarantee if you were here with me today, we could walk upstairs and probably find some Pong with those Atari paddles pretty quickly. And I like Pong as well. It's a great game.
That's great.
There could be folks watching us going, I have no idea what Pong is. That's okay. Come for a tour. I'll show you Pong.
We'll have a demonstration of Pong after the program. You talked a little bit about some of the challenges, and there's been some press recently about people providing goods to Goodwill that are perhaps not helpful. Are there ways that people can learn in advance about what you all accept to avoid some of those problems?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for asking that question. And please know that, this is about education, and this is about partnership with our donors. Our donors are the supply chain for our stores, and without them, we don't have stores. So we're incredibly thankful for everything we receive. This shift is likely a result of the pandemic, and we need to do a really great job communicating with our donors. To answer your question specifically, Jim, on our website, there is, what we can accept and what we cannot accept lists. Each of our stores also has a hard copy, a paper copy as people come up. They may have some stuff in their cars or that is perfectly appropriate to donate. And there may be a few things. Again, I talk about paint cans or old car batteries. there are some things that are a little surprising sometimes when you try to donate. Oftentimes, children's gear or children's equipment or bike helmets, it may be in good shape to the eye, but there could be something there that just wouldn't be great for the individual who bought it. Again, all good intentions. So there may be a few surprises when folks donate, but there are many things that are really not a surprise. Used light bulbs, or again, car batteries, or paint, or any sort of chemically based substance. It's not only can we not sell it, but really equally or most importantly, I don't want our employees to have to process that and be around it and touch it. Everything we donate, we have to rip open and go through, and we want to keep our employees safe. So that's really the foundation of all of our sort of education and outreach. But again, majority of donors give us incredible things.
That's great. There's certainly been a lot of conversation in Augusta over the last number of months about landfills, what can properly and safely go into them, how to properly divert items from landfills. So you are certainly embodying that ethic. Can you talk a little bit more about how much you all have in fact diverted from landfills through your efforts?
Absolutely. Annually, around 50 million pounds. And that majority of that is sold in our stores. Again, I mentioned if it doesn't sell in our store, you can go to Buy the Pound, which is a much different retail experience. If anybody's been to one, we have one here in Gorham. Or we can even repurpose and recycle through a wiping cloth program that we have that also generates revenue, as well as creates really unique jobs. Many of those employees have worked a very long time with us in that area. And so it's really about that. That's what we want to do. We want to find new sources and new innovative ways for those donations. To some people, it may be trash. To us, it's an opportunity. And it's sometimes certainly a challenge, but that's where innovation needs to come in, allow us to create solutions, and when possible, through partnerships, create a new channel or new demand for those donations. So it's up to us. The possibilities are endless, but I need to say, here in Northern New England, I talk to Goodwills all around the country, all around the world. Our neighbors are incredibly generous. When we ask for some help, whether we need some men's shoes, or we're going to be doing a push here for wool sweaters, it's incredible that people step forward, they step up, they really take the time to look through their closets and bring us all their great stuff. And we couldn't be more thankful for that. It's not always the case around the country.
Well, after this program, I'll be going upstairs and picking up some of those wool sweaters that I haven't worn in a few years. So
thank you.
Prepared for a donation.
Thank you. We appreciate that very much.
Can you talk a little bit more about your online presence and opportunities people may have to actually buy something online?
Absolutely. Yeah. So there's two really easy ways to do it. GoodwillAnytime.org or shopgoodwill.com. Those are the two primary places in which we list. We also do a little bit on eBay and Amazon as well. So you can look on any of those platforms. The key to that is understanding what's the best use of a donation. And some things that are donated in our stores may not make sense. They may not be all that interesting to our customers. And there may be a greater value to it to kind of expose that item to the entire world. And the way we can do that is through e-commerce. Certainly through the pandemic and in the years ahead of that, it's been a growing area for us. If you think about how you may shop, or your family may shop, or friends may shop, it's bricks and mortar has been just one option of many options, a way to access the goods you want. So, wouldn't be uncommon for collectibles, whether it's a jewelry or, as we would say in my family, a tchotchke that is very unique. We have staff who really understand the value of that, and something that you or I may see as just an average piece. Really, they understand that it's something unique, and we want to tell the world about it. So we post it online, either of those websites. Again, you can also go to eBay. Sometimes jeans, when I'm giving a tour, which if you ever want to come for a tour here at Gorham, I'm happy to show you around, or anybody on the call. I'll show a pair of jeans, and you'd say, well, it's an old pair of Levi jeans, pretty cool. But to a trained eye, they may understand truly what that is. And we have folks who come to us looking for vintage items all the time and really want that pair of jeans as badly as your eye want that Loverboy t-shirt. They want that pair of jeans because they know what it is and they have a particular purpose for it. So in that e-com platform, that marketplace plays an important role in that way for us.
Great, thank you. We've got a couple minutes left, so just one last question. You do a lot of really important services on behalf of folks in our region. Some of what you do earns money, but I would imagine that that doesn't pay all the bills. Can you talk a little bit more about sort of how you make it all work, and are there ways that the community can in turn help Goodwill?
Absolutely. Thank you for that. It's true. And, like any business, we have cycles when retail is strong and retail is not strong. And really all of it coming together through our diverse portfolio is incredibly helpful and important. Philanthropy is a very important part of our work. The community steps up and really is very generous, as well as not only out of their closets, but with their wallets as well. And that's important. That's grown through the years, particularly as we have the opportunity to do events and share the program side, if you will, of our work. And it's often meaningful and important to the community and particularly to specific individuals. So that really rounds out and adds to and it fills some of the voids some years, particularly when there's a downside in retail or bricks and mortar. To your really thoughtful question around what can the community do to support, donating is, again, as I mentioned a few times today, is our lifeblood. It is our supply chain. So we really ask that, as you've all been doing, I'm sure for so long, supporting us through your closets is really essential to our business and our success and our ability to therefore serve everybody who comes to us for help. So my ask is just to keep doing that and asking good questions. And if there's ever a follow-up bit of information that you'd like about our Goodwill in this presentation, we're always here to answer those questions. If we can help you or your family, friends, or a loved one, we'd be happy to talk to you.
Great, thank you so much, and that's important message for everyone in our audience. We appreciate the work that you do. We appreciate the work of Goodwill Northern New England and all of the folks who work for and with you. So again, we want to thank you for joining us here today. I learned a lot. I'm confident our whole audience learned a lot today. We look forward to continuing to partner with you to meet our workforce and our sustainability challenges in the weeks and months ahead. So again, thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Really appreciate the kind invitation to be here today.
Thank you so much. So as we conclude today's program, you can certainly, all of you, view a complete list of the Chamber's upcoming events on the Chamber's website, portlandregion.com. We encourage you to subscribe to the Chamber's newsletter and to follow the Chamber across all social media platforms. Now, one quick plug, June 9th is the Chamber's annual event called Imagine Portland. I've talked about it on past meetings. We're very excited about Imagine Portland. You can learn more about Imagine Portland on our website. So I encourage you to do that. It looks like it's going to be a fantastic event, as it has been every year, albeit virtual this year, but we promise that it's going to be an exciting event. So please join us. Again, we look forward to joining you next month for our June and final Eggs and Issues of the 2020-2021 season. Also, that will be my last Eggs and Issues serving as host and president, which has been an honor and pleasure for me these last 2 years. We do have a very special presenter planned, which we hope to be able to announce in the coming week. So please stay tuned for that announcement. And with that, please be well, have a great rest of your day, and have a great week.